All right, so let's take a few minutes real quick and we'll talk about device health checks and why those are important. Um, so the logic is, and if you've done this long enough, you know that customers sometimes like to lie. Hey, my ear speaker was working before you guys worked on it, blah, 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 blah. And so you have, you know, this situation now where you either have to fix it because you're supposed, because you don't want them to do a chargeback, you don't want them giving you bad reviews, whatever reason, good reasons, of course, you want to make sure the customer is taken care of. But you also want to cover your butt to make sure that when you have these customer interactions that you've actually done your due diligence and you've documented everything, had them sign and agree to everything. In any sort of service oriented business, especially when you're working on customer owned equipment or devices, you absolutely need to track everything you can. So in the case of this device check-in, we just showed you how to do check-ins, and we mentioned the health check. So the intention is you do this health check while you're checking the computer in or the smartphone in. You do this as part of and going through a thorough check-in process and being able to go through it um, thoroughly as you can anyway. Again, this is where you make the choices that make sense for your business. But if you're doing as many diagnostics as you can in front of the customer, you can actually um, track this and have them sign off on, okay, I did this. They did this in front of me. I see that they were able to test these and blah, blah, blah. But it also means that if there's something that fails or something that you're unable to check, they can also sign the agreement and acknowledges that you can't warranty that. If they bring in a phone, for example, that's not powering on, there's very little that you can put a warranty on, because if you hand me a dead phone, all I can say is it looks like it's together. I don't see any cracks anywhere, and so there are, the opportunity to log this, right? And so if you, yeah, so let's take a look at a health check here. So again, this is one where it's for a laptop. So it doesn't automatically give you a total amount of possible health points. So we're going to get around that problem through proper documentation. There's going to be charts. There's going to be enough. It'll make more sense when you're actually using it and we get to the release stage. So if you're riding along with the us on the demo, or you're just following videos, just know that points possible are things that either pass or fail. If it's undetermined or not applicable, that doesn't go to points possible. Or you can write your own rules. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing here is that we are, in fact, logging. Does the device turn on? Okay, cool. This is a laptop, so back glass doesn't matter. So in A, back glass is not, it doesn't matter. So that's a point that's not total. That's why out of 25 possible points on this, or maybe it's 27, doesn't matter. This laptop is only potentially able to get a total of 18 points. So out of those 18 points, this is one of them that doesn't matter. Again, you know, so we might continue to go through there. So if it's undetermined, but it's something, say this was something that had Face ID, say this was a smartphone, for example, and I wrote undetermined, that would count as a possible point. And I know that contradicts what I just said a minute ago. Just bear with me. It counts as a possible point, but then we can't, but we can't guarantee it. Like again, in the case of a smartphone or even a laptop, we can't really verify no missing screws unless we open it up. But you might mark fail if you're looking at a laptop or another device where you see screws and you can absolutely see there's missing screws. But like in a case of no missing screws, it's either going to be undetermined because smartphones are usually held together by glue now. So if there's a missing screw, it's on the inside, and you're probably not disassembling a phone in front of a customer, and you shouldn't at this point for the check-in triage. But either way, um, it's you would mark this one's failed because clearly her laptop is missing screws. And so that's kind of where we're at. We go through the list. You tally up the points. You get, so in this case, this gets a horrible rating of 77. You should be targeting 90 or higher with your when you're talking in your customers. So the reason that this is a thing, and the reason why I quantify this with a health rating is you can it for some reason people, it's a psychological thing, work better if you can quantify in some way how healthy something is. uh, you know how much gas you've got in the car because you have a needle that shows you how much is there. People understand video games and health in your video games because again it's a meter and it goes up or down. And so likewise, this is the way we, most people think of the world. And so we can do the same thing with customer assets and explain, it's below 90% health rating, which means that these are things, you know, needed to bring this up. And of course, it's an upsell opportunity as well. So if you see that there's a whole bunch of things broken, um, and so a number of things happens with this health rating, and this is why it's such a powerful tool, such an important tool, is you can say, these are things we can fix, but, you know, at this point in the check-in process, you're going to say, we can attempt to fix these things. The most that we can bring this up to is not 100% usually, but you can definitely say we can bring this, up above 90 or whatever and bring it to a good point. On the other hand, you know, they might be bringing in a device that's such a turd that it might cost them a lot of money, more than it's worth, to bring this to an acceptable health rating. And so all of these are important upsell opportunities if you want to say, we can just get your information off and sell you a new device. Um, it's up to you if you want to spend the money. But it gives somebody a view, a rating, a top-down view of, you know, the way. And so the other thing too is you'll do one of these health checks when you're done. And so if there's anything where the technician sees why that you can't fix this, like in the case of like a laptop with a missing screw on the outer shell, it's like, well, because the little screw holder on the end, that's part of the chassis itself, fell out a long time ago. There's no way to put a screw there. And so that will always forever count against the health rating of the device. And you can explain that to them that way, because without spending a couple $100 parts and labor to replace the shell on the computer, it will always be missing screws. So that's just a little bit on the logic behind health checks. So I hope that explains well enough what I'm trying to do. Again, it's a CYA, cover your um, behind measure. So if you want, if you implement this, and I'll share any forms that I've put together for this. But yeah, it's just, you log all these things, and the idea is you're getting the customer to acknowledge these things and accept these things before you even take it in for and actually do anything. And so this also helps justify the diagnostic fee, the bench fee that you charge, especially if you're doing it right in front of them. These are all things that you can technically do at the front counter while you're checking in a customer's device. Obviously you want to get them to pay the bench fee first. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and we'll go through the health checks, and then our technician will go through a deeper diagnosis if there's anything else that needs to be looked at with the device opened up. And so those are all things that you have up front with the customer and it overall helps you in your business. It helps you as a technician, so a customer can't come back and lie and say, oh well, this worked. Well, we couldn't determine that the earpiece worked because you brought it in dead, and you already signed off that we're not warranting this. So again, it's facts and data and stuff that you give to, you know, the appropriate people to make sure that if they do file a chargeback, it helps them understand that no, they agreed to this and they knew this was a potential thing and they accepted it as a risk when they checked in the device. So either way, that's health checks. Peace out.